Hi there. Today I wanted to talk with you about a recent experience that I had, and it had to do with fear. I feel like during COVID times, a lot of us have had to face fears that we have, or fears that, new fears that we didn't even know that could exist for us. But recently, like I mentioned in my last devotional, we took a trip to Universal Studios for fall break. And we haven't been on a trip in a couple years due to COVID. So we were very excited to go on this trip. And I knew the time would come when we were on our trip that someone in my family, or maybe everybody in my family, was going to try to get me to go on a ride that I had previously said that I was not going to go on. So while we were there, there's a ride called the Mummy, and it's basically a indoor roller coaster, and it's very scary. So I knew, as they went on it a couple times, that they were going to start to try to convince me to go on it. And each member of my family took turns kind of comparing other rides we had been on to that ride, and trying to tell me how it was really similar. And so eventually I kind of convinced myself that I could do it. So what I ended up doing is I just said, well, maybe I'll just get in line to start. So that's what I did. I got in line with my family, and I convinced myself to make it to the next part, which would be scanning our little badges that we were wearing. And so I got to the next point where I scanned my badge, and then there was another point past that where we would need to do something else. And I kind of convinced myself to keep moving all the way through that line. And I watched other people getting off of the ride, and I have to admit, I might have watched for people that were both younger and older than I to figure out that if they could do it, I could do it. So we kept going in the line, and as we got a little bit closer to the front, I started to kind of quiz my family about, well, are we getting close to where we're gonna, get loaded into the roller coaster seats and into the seats. And as we got closer, and I saw both the seats and the restraints that would be required for this ride, my fear returned in a big way. But I had decided that I made it that far, which was pretty big for me. And so I sat down in that seat and had the restraints, come over my shoulders, and I realized how major they were and that they weren't going anywhere, so I wasn't going anywhere, and that gave me just a little bit of comfort. But I have to admit that I spent the entire ride with my eyes closed, and I'm almost positive that my husband's arm probably hurt pretty bad at the end of that ride, because I think I almost took it clean off. But I was really proud of myself that I had faced that fear, and it was definitely something that I haven't done for a long time. I haven't been on a roller coaster in many, many, many years, and even the last one that I was on, I can remember it, and I can remember not feeling well pretty much for the rest of the day. But this time, everything went pretty well. I did not go on that ride again. I just went on it the one time. But it did remind me of something that I had read not too long ago. It was a devotional about 365 fear nots, that there are, there's over 365 fear nots in the Bible. And so I wanted to talk with you today just a little bit about that. I went back when I got home and reread the devotional by Bill Gaultier entitled Fear Not, 365 Days a Year. And I remembered then that the scripture that he referenced was Psalm 56, verses 3 and 4. When I am afraid, I will trust in you. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust, I will not be afraid. What can mortal man do to me? So I would ask you, what is it that you're fearful of today? What feels threatening to you today, or what troubles are you having that are causing your absolutely the entire day to be off track? And I would urge you to remember that God has you in the palm of his hand whenever you get to feeling that way. And you need to turn those troubles and those fears over to him, and to truly, truly trust in our God.